Hey, this is John Martinez with Midwest Revenue Group, and our company has been training sales teams across the nation for about a decade now. One of the things most of our customers try to do to fix a sales problem before they come to us, they just throw a lot of money at marketing, a lot of money at lead generation. When you increase lead volume with the broken sales system, sales reps, they'll start to cherry pick the leads they think have the most potential of closing. But we all know that we can't look at a lead and decide who's going to close and who can't. Every lead has to be taken through a sales process. So right away, you lose half of your leads. They're not effective, they're not being run, they're not being worked. Of the leads that are worked, what usually happens is because there's so many leads, there's really no need or no urgency to close every closable deal. Salespeople just stop selling. They start just throwing out price and seeing who's gonna bite and who's gonna take a deal. The big point I wanna make here is this. You can't increase your marketing spend to solve a sales problem. In fact, usually the opposite happens. If you've got a broken sales system, you're not having the right conversations, you're not actually selling the right way, then what happens with increased marketing spend is you actually get less sales. It's very counterintuitive, I know, but that's exactly what happens. The other thing that'll happen for you as a business owner is you start to question everything and it becomes real stressful and you start to feel stuck because when you try everything and nothing works, you feel like, what do I do next? I think I've got the right salespeople, but is it the marketing? Is it the type of marketing? Is it the sales conversation? Is it my product? Is it my service? But usually it's none of those things. Usually it's just the conversion piece. It's the actual selling that needs to take place. Here's the deal. If you're producing leads, you just need to be closing them. So this reminds me of a team I started working with about 6 months ago. Their salespeople were absolutely awesome. They were seasoned, they knew what they were doing, they were very professional, and they could close. But the problem was they wanted to scale up. So they started to increase their marketing spend. Now, as they spent more and more money on leads, sales decreased. So the salespeople, one of them was this wonderful woman named Caitlin. She was absolutely awesome. But she went from running about 5 highly qualified sales calls a week to 20. So what happened was every time she would get those leads, she'd first look at those 20 and go, I can't run all these, I don't have the time. Which are the 10 that have the highest likelihood of closing? So she'd pick those 10, throw the other 10 away. Then those 10 appointments were double the 5 that she was used to running. So she would cut each of those appointments short. She would go in and basically say, hey, here's the deal. Do you want to do business or not do business? And if they said no, she left. Now what she used to do is spend an hour on those sales calls, really building the relationship, dragging out the motivation, really turning up an urgency to take action, and then removing any obstacles that were standing in the way. But those sales calls got cut down to 15 minutes. Even though sales calls only doubled, there was travel time. So it took a lot more time to hit 10 appointments than it did with 5. So those 60-minute appointments now turned into 15-minute appointments. So the net effect of all this was, the business owner was calling me saying, I don't get it. We've got the right sales process. We got the right sales system. We got the right sales people. We doubled lead production. We expected sales to double as well, but they actually decreased by about 15 or 20% overall. So the solution was easy. We just had to hire a few more salespeople and get them trained up on the selling system. Now, when we did that, now they each had the time, the resources, and the wherewithal to run each lead appropriately. And by that, I mean use the selling system to take the prospect through the right conversation, ask them the right questions, engage them the right way, consultatively sell, and close a deal if it was closable. They're now running with 3 salespeople. They have actually doubled sales, and they've been able to do that while cutting marketing expense a little bit. You know, they found out with the right selling system and by maintaining and focusing on those conversion rates, they actually didn't need too many more leads to double sales. They just needed to make sure that every lead was run appropriately. So here's what I want you to do. In just a minute from now, I want you to be very, very clear on where you should focus your time and resources if you want to increase sales. If your sales team, if your conversions are all about the same, if you got 4 or 5 salespeople, 10 or 20 salespeople, and they're all performing at roughly the same level, and if that level is acceptable to you, then it probably means your sales are pretty dialed in. But if you're in a situation where you look at your sales team and some are performing at a very high level, some are at a mediocre level, and some are at a lower level, then I want you to imagine, what if the whole team performed just as good as that top salesperson? Where would your business be? Would you need to increase marketing or leads if every salesperson sold like the top salesperson? Now, if your answer is, hey, I'd be exactly where I want to be, then you don't actually have a marketing issue. You have a conversion issue. You need to get the rest of the team performing like your top salesperson. salesperson. That's the leverage gap. That's where you need to concentrate your time and money and resources and focus, because that's where you're going to get the biggest return. So hopefully this helps you look at your business, look at your issues, and if you want to increase revenue, at this point you should have a pretty good idea. Is it just more marketing and more leads that I need, or is it just a conversion process that I need help with? So hey, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. If you think others can get some value out of it, please share it.